This is Maurice LaMarche, the voice of the brain, and you are listening to the Animaniacs.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode of the Animaniacs. This is episode 2A, Adventures in Phoenix Comicon, Part 2. What an epic title that is. And it's good because we have an epic panel for you as well today. We are going to be listening to Maurice LaMarche's panel, which was recorded Phoenix Comicon. Let's see, a week before last Friday, I believe. Now, the panel audio isn't perfect. There is a little bit of echo to it, but, you'll still be able to hear 95% of everything that's heard. So I apologize ahead of time for any kind of audio quality problems there might be. It just is what happens when you record something live in a big room. You're going to find some fantastic information when it comes to not only the Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain, but also some really interesting stuff when it comes to his other projects, such as Inspector Gadget, The Real Ghostbusters, and of course, Futurama. I'm a huge Futurama fan myself, and I also grew up with The Real Ghostbusters. So if you're like me, you grew up with Maurice LaMarche. It was a real pleasure to meet him in person at Phoenix Comicon. And as you heard from the beginning of this episode, he even recorded some fantastic bumpers, which you'll be hearing in the episodes to come. Before we send it over to Maurice LaMarche's panel, I also just want to give one quick plug over to our Twitter account, twitter.com/Animaniacast. You will see a poll where you get to vote on your favorite group of secondary characters other than Pinky and the Brain. If we put Pinky and the Brain in there, guys, they would just run away with it. And come on, we got to make it competitive, don't we? Right? Yeah. Anyway, so go ahead and head over there to vote for that. Hey, join in some discussions that we have over at our Facebook page as well. Facebook.com/Animaniacast, where you can talk to and meet a bunch of other fans as well. So go ahead and like our Facebook page as well. And hey, if you really like us and everything, take a few minutes to leave a quick comment, leave some feedback on our iTunes page. We'd really appreciate it, along with 5 stars, because 5 stars are the best stars. There's more of them. We have another episode coming out a little later this week, where we'll be reviewing and discussing episode 3 of Animaniacs, which has some great pirate stuff, in my opinion. So stay tuned for that later this week on the feed. Subscribe if you have not yet done so, and we'll see you next time on the Animaniacast. And here's Maurice LaMarche's panel.
Let's get on with this party. Our guest today really needs no introduction, but he deserves it because he's because of his amazing and astonishing career. Growing up, you probably heard Maurice's a lot more than you think, as he has been the voice of some of the world's most beloved cartoon characters, and his career has spanned decades and has earned him 2 Emmy Awards. A list of just a few of the characters he is known for are these: Egon Spengler from The Real Ghostbusters, Mr. Freeze, Kip and Morbo from Futurama, Dr. Doom, and of course, the Brain. As well as countless and other voices. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mr. Maurice LaMarche.
Thank you very much. I'm so nervous I'm leaving now. I thought there'd be 5 people. This is amazing.
Let's do this. All right. How you guys doing? This is so nice. Wow. So, now I'm going to ask you. So, how do you like being a moderator here? It's only you, the voiceover. Tell us some of your credits. college. They brought me out of high school because a gal that I know was dating this guy at college who was working at the college radio station, and we did this little sort of comedy troupe. We did these little radio plays that never went out beyond York University in Toronto. When I think about it, that's the first sort of on-air thing I ever did. So, that's how you do it. You just get your chops going, and sink your teeth into scripts and characters and stuff like that. So there you go. And of course, to start off with Hannah, what would Mortal say about being in Phoenix today?
Mortal is pleased to be a Phoenix Comicon. Sneaky. Very sneaky. I will destroy you!
And with that being said, we're going to open up to you guys, the audience, for any questions. So I'm obviously going to... Wow! And that's why... So I saw a gentleman in the blue shirt over there. Feel free to step up to the microphone or talk really loud. It's entirely up to you. Just don't talk really loud on the microphone.
Well, what are we going to do tonight? Seriously, for a comment, I think.
No, I have to go ahead and tell you what I'm going to say tonight. You're going to find the best steak in Phoenix. And then take over the world. Wait, everybody's clapping while you start your question started.
Just a comment. Four of the best shows I've seen: Darkwing Duck, Batman the Animated Series, Pinky and the Brain, and the Real Ghostbusters. So I guess you've done two of the four.
I'm batting 50%. That's good. I did three episodes of Batman the Animated Series. Thank you. Yeah, I'm very pleased and honored to be part of those shows. Real Ghostbusters was really my second job, but the longest job in the cartoon biz. To me, I could run off with Inspector Gadget, where I played the chief for season 2, because the first 65 was out in Toronto, which oddly enough is where I'm from, but I moved before that happened, so I didn't get work with Don on the first 65. So they recast it, and they did the last 22 down here in Los Angeles, and I got to be the chief. And henchman number 2. And anytime anytime Gadget went back in time and met one of his ancestors, it was in Don's contract that he didn't have to do any character but Gadget. And I also did underwater Gadget. Anytime Gadget went underwater, voiceover workshop 101 from Maurice. Here's what you do when you're character. I'm underwater. Don't go, Gadget. And Don said, I can't do that without getting turned on. So I started playing, Gadget. He's on at one point during, he said, Bill Dana, I used to think did me better than anybody. Now he moved into the number 1 spot. So when he retired, and we did a series called Gadget and the Gadgetinis that aired everywhere in the world except the United States, Don said, get him out of the film. He sounds more like me than I do. So I played the guy. I had to take over his Gadget for the TV series. But, to go into Real Ghostbusters and have each of those scripts, Michael Gross, God rest his soul, and Joe Medjic, ran the show along with Joe Straczynski. And they did the movie, and they said that their goal was to make each episode something that would have worked as Ghostbusters 2, before they'd done Ghostbusters 2. So the quality control on that was that each episode would have worked as a movie, and it had a very cinematic feel. It felt very true to the film. And, on that subject, now that there's a new film coming out, I know there's a lot of talk about, how can we do this, Ghostbusters, women. This is going to be a fantastic film. I have not seen it, but, I know a few of the players, and this is going to be great. It's going to be great. Melissa's a friend of mine, and, it's just, be ready for it. You let go of your prejudices. That's what Zootopia's all about, So all prejudgment, including sexist prejudgment. Just let this film be the terrific film. Of course.
that gives me a great moral authority to say so.
I was going to ask that. Do you think that Kate McKinnon's characters, I personally see it, is very much an homage?
I bet it is a little tip of the hat of the animated series. They've given it that sort of, whatever that is, ding dong. White ho-ho. The hostess ho-hos who were frosted. Anyway, whatever that thing is that I don't eat anymore, it's over in fat. Always guys my size, no, I'm not doing sugar, no carbs. And the people who eat anything are, pencil, like you. Yes, you eat anything you like, don't you?
Yes.
But not yogurt. Yes, you eat anything you like, don't you?
Yes, but I'm also an amateur strongman, so that's part of the I wanted to ask if you would talk a little bit about your background with Rodney Dangerfield and how you got hooked up with him.
Well, the way I got hooked up with Rodney, I used to open for Rodney across the country for the years of late 1984 to 1985. And I got hooked up with Rodney because Jim Carrey got sick. So he was using Jim as his opening act. And Rodney, he loved Jim, and he sort of is like the victim of the last person he spoke to. And so when I opened for him, he just kind of kept me on, and I ended up joining the company. And I had the greatest experience. Rodney Dangerfield was, we pay a little tribute to Rodney and Guilty Birds of One Stone. I'll tell you, right now, last week I was in rough shape. Last week I went to bed with an inflatable girl. Now I got an inflatable guy looking for. It ain't easy you can be. Got to do an impression and went all the sweat off. Probably why he did it. Anyway, he was an eccentric guy. He had many rituals. Rodney would always, for instance, before going on stage, he would not get into the suit until about 5 minutes before going on stage. He walked around in a robe. He was in a robe backstage, and Rodney had a unique property. I think he might have counted as a hero's ability on the show Heroes. He was a terry cloth repellent. He had a repellent force field around him. No bathroom could stay done out around Rodney. So Rodney, constantly, walking, hey, Maurice, how you doing, man? Okay, you all right? All right. Excited for the show tonight? Okay, very good. And then you would come open and there would be, I got used to it, but one night, my mom came to Vegas. And I'm giving him he's sitting down at a glass dining table. Come on, you got a good kid here, okay? He's a good boy. I tell you, he works very clean. I like that. He must have raised the blood. And the robe's going to open her and open her. And I'm throwing myself across the table. When he hit the tables? Anyway, but he was an extremely generous man. He's the only headliner that ever gave me 50% billing. In other words, my letters were half the size of his, everybody else quarter the size, third of the size, underneath roast beef. Roast beef and Maurice LaMarche. Rodney Dangerfield, I've got a picture of my dad going like that. And that's my favorite picture of my father. I had the opposite father of every comedian I know. My father told me when I was a teenager, look, you're obviously not going to be a guy who can sit at the desk or work in a store. You've got something, you've got to follow your dream, you've got to follow your passion. Don't be a workaday Joe. It's not going to work for you. Your brother, maybe, he might be my brother, became a stockbroker, but not me. And I've got another younger brother who's a bushmaker, but he was along. So that was and so my dad was so proud. He's standing there gesturing to Caesar's Palace's billboard, and there I am, my letters. And that's my favorite picture of my father. It's the thing that I lost him shortly after that. So I'm glad I got it. Yes, I probably, God, I'm sorry, I'm getting choked. I'm just thinking, we all want to make our dad's proud, right? So Rodney was a champion of young comedians, and he made sure that, I remember we showed up for a few months, refused to go on until my name was up there. And I was like, Mr. Canadian, Mr. Nice Guy. Oh, it's okay, buddy. It's okay. I need to see what you did. No, man, that sucks. Let me tell you. When I was a guy, they don't think about that. They're gonna hate me, man. When I started out, man, I tell you, I never got billing, and it was tough, And so I sat with my dressing room, and this assistant came out and said, "Come here, take a look." There was a guy on a cherry picker, and this billboard was way up. It was on still like the Jetsons, way the hell out there. Here's this guy risking his life on a cherry picker. Hey, literally, Rodney Ray made such a statement. This guy went out there at 6 o'clock with my name. So that was Rodney. Rodney was a great guy. He launched Zach Kinison, he launched Bob Saget, Louis Anderson, Jerry Seinfeld, did his young comedian special, and, Mr. Nicer did it too, but, so that was Rodney. And, I remember him fondly, and will always be grateful to him for the start of the game. Next question.
Hi there, Maurice. Hey, thank you for coming. This is the number one panel I've been looking forward to in Phoenix Comicon, so really appreciate it. Just curious, when you were doing Futurama and you were doing the voice of the Donbot and the Clamps, and they would have a scene where they're talking to each other, would you do it in one take where you would just jump back and forth between voices, or would you record one voice and then on the recording, basically talk to that recording?
I got it back. That's a very good question. It's the kind of question that a guy can get clamped for. What do you think? Yeah, boss, so let me give him a clamp. Seems like a nice enough guy. Pick it up and get him off and things up. That's the way we do it. If we'd had to do it the other way, where we just stopped and did all those lines in one character, we've been in for Billy West. Maybe is a little bit better than me at playing three characters in a scene, talking amongst himself. But he had a lot of opportunities to do that. So he'd be the professor and Zoidberg and Fry, and we'd have 2-3 pages of dialogue where it was just him. There you go. One take. Okay, let's move on. He had it. He just had it. And so, I got decent at that on the critic, where I had to play one episode, I think I played 27 characters. So I got good at it too. So that's the way we work. That's part of our stock and trade, is to be able to do all the characters in the scene. I did Al Franken's radio show, Senator Al Franken back when he was doing radio. And Mel, it was Al, he played Dick Cheney. Meg Ryan played my wife, and I played like 7 different characters, and we did a radio play style. And one of the great thrills for me is remembering Meg Ryan just looking me up. I said, yeah, you orgasm to a sandwich, so that's what I really should say.
Okay, so you can blame John DiMaggio for this question, but what's your Tupac story?
What's my what?
Tupac story?
Tupac?
Yeah.
I don't have a Tupac story. I've been playing John DiMaggio for that question. I have a Tupac story?
Apparently. He said it on the commentary of I Know That Boy. So.
Not a Tupac story. Well, Tupac and I walked into a bar. No, I have no Tupac story. I'm so sorry. Excuse me while I just tweet to John. WTF. Sorry.
Okay.
You get another
you mentioned the critic, and in that you usually did a lot of the celebrity voices in that.
Yes.
Like, did that just come from, your background in improv, or?
Well, my background in stand-up, and funnily enough, Mike and Reese and Al Jean, when they were just starting out and writing they actually worked for Johnny Carson. They were down at the comedy store all the time, They knew my work from that, and I didn't know they were sort of boosters of mine. So they hired me based on my ability. They thought, we're writing a show about with celebrity clips in it. We should get that young freshman guy from the early 80s. So I was on that team. And we were friends to this day. And Al still throws me on the Simpsons a couple times a year. Just to, if there's a voice that Harry or Hank, Daniel, could do with it, whatever they, like they had me do Toucan Sam in there. So, and they had me do Captain Crunch as well. They loaded the apple. It was Apple Crunch.
I'm a big fan of Disney. You've done some movies like Frozen and TV shows like House of Mouse, Mickey Mouse Club, and Pepper Wren.
Yeah.
What's your most favorite Disney role?
My most favorite Disney role I would have to say it's Mr. So far. I mean, I love
Mouse.
What's that?
Mortimer.
Chow. Well, thank you for asking. And Mortimer came from, he was the original character back in the 30s. And so they showed me that, and the audio on it was terrible. So it was very muffled, but I knew it had that kind of almost John Lovitz-y kind of cadence to it. So I really just kind of Lovitz it up. I took him a little more 30s. But thank you for liking Mortimer. What's being done now with Zootopia, and many levels that Zootopia works on, I'm just so proud to be associated with that film. And Big is a fun character. You've seen the film, but it drops on Tuesday, by the way, on the DVD Blu-ray. So you guys all going by.
With all the animation and all the different work that you've done over the years, is there any interesting or any behind the scenes or funny stories that you have between working for different shows, different movies, short films?
Apparently I'm too popular. Well, what's interesting to me, I'm always amazed anybody who wants, to know anything about what I do. In my life, it's like go into dark room with carpeting on walls and sort of pieces of film. Look at words, read them into microphone, and go home to lecture. That's sort of my bottom line view of my life. And when I've got friends visiting from out of town and they say, they really want to come watch me work, I say, you want to watch a fat man stand up? I can just say stuff. Yeah, but apparently, I know, and I'm immensely grateful for this chance I've been given to do this very, very longevity, laden career. I can do this and will do this until they wheel me out toes up. Hopefully many years from now. Because you can't. There's no overexposure. You just change your voice. Nobody gets too used to your voice because I can change it. So I view it as winning the lottery, but I took the 26 annual payments instead of the lottery. Because I had a lot of friends. Jerry Seinfeld, Gary Chandler brothers, this whole. I sort of felt at one point in my life that, wow, they're going to have to, they're going to get the big TV series, $250,000 paycheck, per episode. It's like, it's all a bunch of BS I made on myself. I do great life. And I've got a curriculum vitae, if you will, of shows that people will enjoy for decades and have enjoyed for decades. I've gotten to keep working, and that's all an actor wants to do. I get to work every day. Some people are on a sitcom for 4 years, and they make a few $1 million, and they're kind of set for life if they invest well, and they never work again. They're miserable because they go, I only see you as that character. I get to be a character every day. So thank you guys for keeping on tuning in and giving me that kind of longevity. Thank you very much. session for a video game, and he really, blew out his vocal cords, so he put on strict voice rest. So he apologizes to you all for not being here. He wishes he could be here, but he sends us off.
Big fan. Now, I have a question. When the nostalgia critic asked you to do a role for the brain,
Oh, yeah. Remember, it was like it was yesterday.
what was your reaction when he told you to actually do a role where you and him finally divorce each other?
Yeah, I didn't know, he didn't explain the concept. The unfortunate thing is that the animation dropped on the internet before the whole episode. So there were a lot of people who wrote me and said, why did you do that? You ruined my childhood. If I had that kind of power, I really should take over. I really should take over the world. It was part of a larger episode where the point of preventing a terrible apocalyptic future is breaking up people in the brain. But when he got us up to his hotel room, all he did was, he interviewed us for his show. And they said, would you guys record a little something I've written? We do that. Come to my table, you want me to do your answering machine? I'll do that. It's a little cost involved, but I'll do that. My answer makes me, I've got a guarantee I've got to meet. So, but I'll do it. So I thought, all right, we'll go do his answering machine or something like that. So we get up to the hotel room and here's this F-laden thing, and we're just swearing at each other. Trust me, it'll be fun. Okay, we'll do it. He said we do it. Man on my word. So we did it. And so when I'm turning to him at the end there, they cut to real life and we're in the hotel room. Like, I'm not kidding around. I'm like, really, are you sure this is for kids? I mean, what are you doing? But it ended up being kind of brilliant. If you watch the whole episode of Nostalgia, it ends up being kind of a brilliant episode. Yeah, so sorry for your childhood. Brain will never say again.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm horrible at public speaking. I want to say thank you. You're fantastic.
Actually, I have a very nice voice.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Don't be afraid.
What was your favorite Futurama character that you played?
It's such a rich palette. They gave me so many characters. And did you ever follow up on that? Or?
Oh, yeah, and then did you cry at Fry's dog?
Let me tell you something. I've never seen the likes. I cried at the table. We read that episode and David Cohen described the final scene. So I can't watch that episode based on what I already know. I've never watched the episode, but I know people, grown men, who just can't think about it. So, yeah. But my favorite Futurama character, it's like asking me to pick amongst children. I mean,
I love her. Ruler of the Platinum Conference, I hate it.
he's kind of Big Bob Pataki from Hey Arnold meets Orville. Not the same voice. I know I make that joke constantly on commentaries and whenever I hear, but they really aren't the same.
Corbo is abused as a very state toilet. And Wurr is just, he's okay. Anything he says gets done. So, they're flavor-free omelets.
So, he has a vulnerability. He's got courage to come on. So keep baby right up there. But I love Wurr because Wurr won me an Emmy. So. The other one. Is unholy acting talent. That was some free acting for you. Normally, you have to sit with a tempo on it, or she'll get acting. Come on, guys, please. Except now that I take over the
Well, thank you for coming. And my question harkens back to Pinky and the Brain.
How many people here saw the Christmas episode? Our Emmy-winning Christmas episode?
Yes.
Yeah. That plan succeeded. The beauty of the beauty of the episode is, he has the world in the palm of his hand. But he's so touched by Pinky's gesture, like the letter that he wrote to Santa. And he's so filled with the spirit of Christmas that all he can do is command everyone to have a very Merry Christmas, everyone. Joy to the world! And then he destroys the machine. But he had the world in his hand. He took over the world for about 7 seconds. It was to command everybody to have a Merry Christmas. That's why it's my favorite movie. Right? The brain wants to take over the world because he truly believes that with his 275 IQ, he can actually make it a better place. And that's the way I always played the character. That's the way that they began to write the character when I said, this is how I have to play it. You can't play a villain. You can't play a guy who thinks he's doing the wrong thing. You have to play a guy as though he's doing the right thing, even if he's the most vile character in the world. Heath Ledger's Joker actually has a moral center. It's not yours and my moral center. But he does have a center that he's coming from where he thinks that he's helping people by showing them the world as a chaotic place. And there is nothing but chaos. And of course he gets his jealous but anyway, I get my always watching people laugh. Yes, sir.
Okay, so you already said you didn't watch the episode with where Fry's dog. But how often are you able to sit back and kind of watch some of your episodes? And are you able to do that after spending so much time in the studio with the script?
I usually don't watch things fresh off the presses. It's too new to me, and I just hear me, and I remember what I was thinking as we were recording, and maybe I was, in between takes going, the brain is the lunch. But if some time goes by, I can watch a couple of years later. Like Pinky and the Brain to me is now a terrific cartoon show about 2 lab mice who are dear friends. We can't show them how much he loves them, but we're dear friends, and they just have to try to take over the world every day. And I watch that, and I'm somewhat divorced from it, so I can enjoy it without that sort of judgment in my head about what I did, and should I waited a little longer on that line. Held that note a little longer, gave it a little longer pause between each thing. I now watch and just enjoy it, So it's comedy plus time for me. So I can go back to things and enjoy it, fresh off the press.
So we know that Pinky and the Brain were never on the same page when they were pondering what I'm pondering. But what was your favorite Pinky pondering moment?
I think the one that took the rock balls and breaks out most of the time when we're together. And again, my very poor Pinky pondering what I'm pondering. Well, I think so, Brain, but if Jimmy cracks corn, no one cares. Why would he be doing it? I'm so sorry, could you just, if you can, a little on the moment.
If Pinky and the Brain was going to be a movie, would you want it to be live action or regular animation?
What I would like it to be brilliant CGI of Pinky and the Brain, but in a human world. If they can do CGI, I'd love for them to start the movie with, 2 regular mice, cinematically shoot 2 mice going through the thing, and they come out these misshapen characters. How they interact in the real world. That would be if I could. Finance my own thinking. That's how it started going. We pile on all the celebrities as the people they encounter as they try to take over the world. Be one of those a journey picture, a quest. And but that's the way I like to see it.
Let's say, I think Rob had the same question when I was talking to his podcast. Except they did a live action piece like Russell Brand and Peter.
No, that's me. I said that.
I'm sorry.
I said like, celebrity stunt casting, they won't use us as Pinky and the Brain. That's why I said put all the celebrities around Pinky and the Brain, but, when you went to see the Transformers movie, and Optimus Prime had his first line, and you heard Peter Cullen, the voice of your childhood, right? You should just get like a chill up your spine. Holy shit, when I was sitting there, everybody was saying, holy shit, it's the real Optimus. And I was a little upset that Frank Walker didn't play Megatron. Hugo Weaving's a tremendous actor. It's not that he needed to be Hugo Weaving. I think people would have got a big thrill if it was Frank. So but anyway, Frank got to be other characters in the picture, and that's my own little bugaboo. I don't begrudge celebrities any work in voiceover. I believe you've got a SAG card, I've got a SAG card, we all deserve to be in the picture. But when it's iconic characters, I don't mean to talk my character up too much, but they kind of made a little mark, those two guys. And I'm not saying it as me, I'm saying it as those guys. The characters themselves, they're the stars. But part of that stardom is the chemistry between Ron Paulson and Maurice LaMarche. So I would probably be very impressed. It's certainly much more so than the Depression or whatever seems to be going on right now with Woman Ghostbusters. I think that's actually terrific. You can't bring back, God rest his soul, Harold Ramis. We can't make it with the Ghostbusters at the age with Peter, making the age Bill is and all that. This is going to be a fresh take on it. But with Pinky and the Brain, they're animated. They don't have to age. And that dynamic, I think, was what sold the show all those years. So hopefully, if they ever do, they won't use Peter Dinklage and Russell Brand. We would probably be better for the mocap. I just shot myself again. This is going to go up on YouTube, and Spielberg's going to see it and go, So I'd love to do it, and it's all around. Also, both standing at the ready. Celeb casting. Would you guys like celebs in the room? Lead a report. Would you guys like celebs in the room Pinky and the Brain? Pitchforks there. Pitchforks. Stephen, pay attention. There are pitchforks in the back.
Do you wait to develop the voice of a character until the character exists and is in front of you? Or do you ever develop potential characters and wait for the right matchup to use an idea that's already in your head?
I do both, to be honest with you. I'm constantly trying out things with my voice, just getting vocal tensions or some strange person I meet, I'm here to take on the way they speak, and I'll look at them, and I'm almost like Silent from Heroes. I'm almost like I wish I could just slice their head open and hold their voice out. But I listen and I start repeating after them, and I look odd when I do it. And then I bank it, and then I take out my little voice memo thing on my iPhone, and I'll do the person's voice into the phone, and then I'll name that file interesting voice number 4 and email it to myself, so that I just filter for interesting voice. And sometimes if I'm lost for like guy number 3, I'll find it. Other times I look at the one sheet, not the one sheet, that's theater. I look at the model sheet, and in the case of Brain, I had no idea what they wanted, but I saw that arched eyebrow and that pronounced forehead, and I just saw Orson Welles. They didn't have Orson Welles in mind, but that face was Orson Welles to me, so I did Orson Welles. And so very often I'm informed by the artwork, and I just sort of think that artwork has a new skin for myself, and I sort of in my mind climb into that skin and feel like what I myself.
I wanted to ask you about Zootopia. Yes. When you were Mr. Big, did they alter your voice at all?
They did. It's the only voice I do where I can't reproduce it for you right here and have it sound like it does in the movie. They gave it an 18 to 24% upwards, depending on the scene. And the engineer told me it's 877.
I'm doing the performance for you. Like I say, I have to make Maddie.
But they took it up, so I can't ever just do it and then go, oh wow, that's the voice from the movie. I mean, if you can hear the performance, that's great. Whereas the King in Frozen is actually, a version of my actual speaking voice. I didn't do anything except whisper. I just kind of did, actually I change it whenever I meet young children now who want a picture of the King. I take their hand and I go, feel it. No one can see it. Let your gifts and your feelings show. These girls won't know. I reverse everything. As the King he's not the villain of the piece in the classic sense, but what he says to his daughters, triggers a dysfunction that just makes everything start to go wrong in the movie. So if he hadn't said that, she might have had a normal life. Of course, there'd be no movie, but so that's my take on it. And Jennifer Lee just said, I just want to hear you. Just be you. The first person in 30 years to ask for that. But anyone? Yes.
If you could go back and do any show that is like looking at the cast and crew where they serve the best lunches, which one would it be?
The best lunches?
Well, which show would you go back and do? If it was just for whatever reason, what show would you go back?
Oh, okay. I think you're asking which show had the best lunch.
It's not
Great, actually. We just go up to the 20th Century Fox commissary and have lunch every week. It's really great to see these huge stars in the studio heads, and you just realize, oh wow, I guess I got here. I did okay. I had the 20th Century Fox over there. But the one I would want to do all over again, and hope to do more of something, is Big Hero. And I'm very close to my Futurama. And every time I see that crane, it says, look how Futurama go. Maybe you watch, but he would love for it to come back, and it's his baby. And we might see something. This is not a confirmation by any means. There's nothing in the works. But when a guy with Matt Groening's, clout and money wants something done, it generally somehow gets done. So hopefully we'll do it before Billy West is 85. If Billy West is 85, I know one thing about him. His voice will still sound like 5 because he's the most awesome voice guy I've ever met. Well, on par with Frank Welker, and he also does nothing to hurt his cords. He's a vegan, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't drink, he doesn't do drugs. So those cords are pure. The same with Welker, by the way. They both live extremely clean lives. I unfortunately have a little love affair with cigars in the 80s and 90s and part of the 2000s and unequivocally in 2007. Gravel, which is great for things like the 2016 Lexus GS. Once there's no going back. See what this is. I can't do the high-end stuff. I can't get under the falsetto range anymore because I suck too much nicotine down all of my cords. So, don't smoke. If you want a career in this business, don't smoke. And if you smoke, stop. It's uncomfortable for about 4 days. For about 4 days, it feels like there's Fred and Barney inside your brain going, hey, Fred, tickle him with a feather. Hey, 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 hey. That's not until you smoke. And then, inside that way, all that stuff. And after that, you're done. You're done. Cravings are over. All you have is thoughts. And your thoughts will pass within 5 minutes. That's how I quit smoking. Somebody gave me that little clue. They said, 5 minutes, and the craving's over whether you give into it or not. You're only having thoughts. You're not having the physical nicotine craving. And I'm stuck with that. So you're not going to neuralize me, are you? No. I want to remember this now. mountain character. But I didn't know anything about this show or this guy. I walk in and, he's a kid. He's like 31, 32 at the time. And I said, so what made you hire me to be a dog accountant and what these lines mean? And I was a kid, teenager. I started studying art. And I used to come home and watch Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain. And I swore to myself, if I was lucky enough to have a show, when I became an adult out into this world, I would use you guys. I would work with you guys. I want to work with you. So that day, at episode 2, you'll notice, if you look at the credits, Bob Paulson, Tress McNeil, Jess Harnell, and Maurice LaMarche. And the truth is that one of us has been in almost every episode, or we've, cross-pollinated. And so, Gabriel linked allow me to emancipate you from your inferior genes. so great. And Dan's a genius, and I just love those guys. So such a thrill to be part of such a genius show. Yes?
Speaking of geniuses, what is it like working with Steven Spielberg?
Well, Steven only came to one session, a tiny film session, and it was the day that I was sick. So I actually he signed a Disney Devil model sheet. Just said, Maurice, where were you? I had a story. So that was the only time that I would have had a chance to work with him. I did get to meet him twice, and we threw this huge party on the Warner Brothers lot. And, we had a yakko wacko about actually hanging from the water jar, giant figurines like that. And so I got to meet him, and he's got this incredible gift of making you feel like you're the only person in the room. His eyes never go anywhere but on you, has a conversation with you, and then he flew to a similar party 2 years later. And when I met him, again, I didn't need to be reintroduced. He remembered my name, he remembered what we talked about, and it was like, wow, I can't remember, this was 20 years ago, I was still relatively young. I'm very unfocused, and I have difficulty with names and that sort of thing. So it's a really amazing facility to have. So it was great. It was very inspiring. When a guy of this caliber goes, your work's pretty good. I'd like to work with you. It's all hard work, Guess you don't suck at your job. You do.
I think
Are we out of questions?
I think we have one time for one more. Just one more.
Are there any roles that you passed up that you regret?
Are there any roles I passed up? Did I regret? No. There are no roles I passed up that I regret. I did pass up something that when there was a boom of flash animation for online, there was one particularly poor taste cartoon. And I played it, there was by the same company did something called Hard Drinking Lincoln, where Abraham Lincoln was an alcoholic, and I played John Lewis Booth, and I shot him in every episode. That was, I felt, it's not too soon. It was fun, it was highly religiously offensive, and I'm not particularly religious, but I'm sensitive to other people's religiosity, and I do want to be part of something that could really, just upset people at a spiritual level, so I walked away from that one. And I don't regret it. That's about it. That's as controversial as I get. So.
And in closing, my final question to you, Maurice, is what advice do you give aspiring voice actors?
The advice that Rob Paulson and I were on the same page with this, because we get asked this question a lot today. What we almost answer in unison. Become a good actor first. Your voice is important, obviously, otherwise it's pantomime. But everybody's got a voice, and a lot of people can manipulate their voices to do other things, and some people only have one voice. I have a dear friend, Andy Keller, who was the voice of ABC, and he's the boss. And Andy just has that one voice, but when he reads that copy, you go, yes, sir, I'm doing it a lot. He's got authority, he's got depth, and he's got gravitas. And he's a good actor. So be a good actor before you worry about being a good voice actor. Voice acting is simply acting without the hair, lighting, makeup, and keyline, and hitting your mark. The mark is, this far from the mic. show called Captain Simeon and the Spaceman.
Yay!
Thank you. That wasn't for gay. I love that show. You know, it's actually in like my top 10 of shows I've ever done in terms of writing. I love that show. It was not, I guess, distributed well. And Hallmark didn't quite have its legs yet. One of the very first shows Hallmark financed. It was great. We had DC Montana writing episodes. We had Star Trek people writing episodes. It's Star Trek people on the show. And Michael Dorn watched Jeff Bennett and I play a bunch of characters in the episode early on. And Michael looked at us and went, wow, you guys are just like real actors. And I looked at him from across the studio, looked forward and I went, if you were any other man, I would kill you! What are you talking about, Michael? Of course we're actors. You just want to get in front of the camera. But it's acting, man. It's just a really good actor. Be good, you know, take not only scene study workshops, but if you've got anything like improv groups or the Growlings where you work on sketch comedy characters, that's extremely helpful too. I mean, a lot of people in animation came from the Growlings, both on the writing end and the performing. Sherry Stoner, who was, a Sappy Squirrel, a Growling, Kristen Wiig, who on the Looney Tunes show was Lola Bunny, Growling. I don't know if you've heard of her. That was before she was doing big movies. She was doing some cartoons. Melissa, the Growling. So anything like that. Anything else you work on your comedy chops. Don't worry about your voice. That's for radio. Work on acting. If you're the type of person who's stand up there, standing up in front of a microphone telling jokes or doing this, do that. I have 10 years of stand-up comedy really helped me learn where the funny is in reading a line. So these are all the tools that I do. And then worry about getting on. For all you know, you might, on your way to becoming a good actor, you stand up comedian, you might land a TV series and make $250,000 a week. And still go, do a cartoon. But it's okay, it's all open to you. Work on being a good actor. It's not so with that, I want to thank everybody for coming out.
Once again, let's give it a round of applause for Mr. Maurice LaMarche.
This podcast is not endorsed by Warner Brothers or Amblin Entertainment and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Animaniacs, the Warner Brothers logo, all names, pictures, and sounds of the Animaniacs characters or any other Animaniacs-related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Warner Brothers, Amblin Entertainment, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Animaniacast unless otherwise indicated.
If you want this done, you'll just have to find some actor who does impressions.